Stop everything you're doing right now. Close every other tab. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Because what I am about to tell you is going to flip your entire understanding of what Rihanna and Rocky have been quietly orchestrating behind closed doors. And I am not exaggerating when I say this might be the most seismic entertainment bombshell we have witnessed in the last decade. My people reached out to me this morning. And when I tell you my jaw was on the floor, I mean the floor, the basement floor, the subterranean level beneath the basement floor. Because apparently on April 4th, Rihanna and Rocky detonated something so massive that the entire digital landscape fractured in real time. We are talking millions of people refreshing their feeds simultaneously. We are talking fan communities that have been dormant for years, suddenly erupting like volcanoes that everybody forgot were active. And within mere hours, the footage, the clips, the cryptic posts, all of it had already been dissected, screen recorded, stitched together, and redistributed across every single platform you can name. 500,000 views on a single breakdown video before most people even finish their morning coffee. 500,000. Let that marinate for a second. Now, before I unravel every single thread of the situation, and trust me, there are threads you have not even heard whispered about yet. If you're somebody who lives for these kinds of earth-rattling celebrity developments, do yourself one favor and smash that subscribe button right now. Because the way the story is unfolding, there are going to be updates dropping faster than anyone can keep up with. And I refuse to let you miss a single one. Are we locked in? Good. Let us get into this. So here's what detonated. April 4th, a date that is now permanently seared into pop culture history. Fans across every time zone woke up, grabbed their devices, and were immediately confronted with what numerous insiders are describing as a monumental declaration from both Rihanna and Rocky. And I want you to understand something. This was not some casual Instagram story that vanished in 24 hours. This was not a vague tweet that left people guessing. No, this was calculated. This was architectural. Every element of this reveal was engineered with surgical precision, and the reverberations hit social media like a Category 5 hurricane, making landfall on an unprepared coastline. Within the first 3 hours, the hashtags were already dominating every trending list globally. Fan theories were multiplying at a speed that would make epidemiologists nervous. Group chats were imploding. Discord servers were crashing. And the general consensus across every pocket of the internet was identical. This changes absolutely everything. Now, here is where I need you to buckle in, because the layers to this are deeper than what anyone on the surface is reporting. My sources, people who move in those circles, people who have been adjacent to both Rihanna and Rocky's camps for years, are telling me that this announcement encompasses something far more profound than a simple musical comeback or a flashy promotional stunt. We are talking about a life-redefining pivot, not just for them as artists, not just for them as cultural architects, but for them as a family unit. And when I say family unit, I need you to absorb the full gravity of that phrase. Because apparently, the decisions they have locked in are going to reshape how we think about celebrity partnerships, creative empires, and generational legacy building for years to come. Now, let me bring you back to the foundation, because context matters. When was the last time Rihanna graced us with a full-length musical project? Think about it. Really sit with that question. 2016. We are approaching a full decade of silence from one of the most dominant vocal forces this generation has ever produced. A decade. And in that decade, do you know what she did? She did not just sit idle. She did not disappear into obscurity. She constructed an empire so vast and so influential that it fundamentally altered an entire industry. But we will circle back to that empire in a moment, because what is happening right now transcends even Fenny. The whispers I am hearing suggest that Rihanna has been quietly stockpiling an arsenal of unreleased material, and the vault, my friends, is apparently overflowing. But here's the thing that separates this moment from every other Rihanna comeback rumor we have endured over the past 9 years. This time, there are receipts. This time, there are verified industry figures corroborating the timeline. This time, the breadcrumbs are not coming from random fan accounts with 14 followers and a dream. They are coming from people embedded in the machine. And those people are saying, with an alarming degree of certainty, that what Rihanna and Rocky are about to deploy will make the Super Bowl halftime spectacle look like a casual rehearsal run. Remember that performance? Of course you do. The entire planet stopped rotating for approximately 13 minutes while she commanded that aerial platform and reminded every single human being watching that she is still that incomparable, untouchable, generation-defining force. Analysts estimated the viewership in the hundreds of millions. Streaming numbers for her catalog surged by triple digits overnight. Songs that were released years prior suddenly climbed back on the charts, as if they were brand new. That was the appetizer. And now, according to every credible murmur circulating through the pipeline, the main course is being plated. Let us pivot to Rocky for a moment because his role in this equation is not secondary. It is absolutely integral. And I think people have been drastically underestimating the magnitude of what he brings to this creative marriage. Rocky has always operated in a lane that defies simple categorization. He is not just a lyricist. He is not just a producer. He is a full-spectrum cultural synthesizer who moves fluidly between soundscapes, visual identities, and aesthetic movements in a way that very few artists in any era have managed to achieve. His approach to music has always carried this kaleidoscopic quality, blending gritty street narratives with avant-garde production choices, psychedelic textures with boom-bap foundations. And when you take that multidimensional palette and merge it with Rihanna's ability to transform any melody into a global anthem, what you get is not just a collaboration. What you get is an entirely new musical language, a dialect that has never existed before. And that is precisely what insiders are suggesting is coming. Now imagine this for a second. Close your eyes and picture it. Rihanna's velvety, intoxicating vocal register layered over Rocky's boundary-dissolving sonic architecture. Her capacity to oscillate between vulnerability and absolute dominance, meeting his talent for crafting atmospheres that feel simultaneously cinematic and intimate. That is the fusion we are allegedly about to witness. And I need you to understand, this is not wishful thinking. This is not fan fiction. The people feeding me this information do not deal in fairy tales. They deal in contracts, studio bookings, and release schedules. And they are telling me, with a level of conviction that genuinely startled me, that sessions have already taken place. Material already exists. The architecture of this project has moved well beyond the conceptual phase into active construction. And honestly, the thought alone is enough to send tremors through every corner of the music industry. Because if those two decide to release a joint project, a real, fully realized, cohesive body of work, it would not just compete with anything currently on the market. It would exist in its own stratosphere. It would establish a new benchmark that every couple collaboration in the future would be measured against. And here's the part that really sends chills through me. Multiple sources are hinting that this is not limited to a single album drop. They are whispering about surprise releases across multiple streaming platforms simultaneously, exclusive visual companions, potentially even a joint touring experience that would combine both of their performance sensibilities into one unified spectacle. Can you even begin to fathom what that stage production would look like? Rihanna's legendary command of massive arenas, fused with Rocky's kinetic, mosh pit-inducing concert energy, that is not a tour. That is a cultural pilgrimage. People would mortgage their futures to attend. And let me tell you something else that my contact slipped into the conversation almost casually, as if it were a minor detail rather than a nuclear revelation. There are apparently conversations happening with some of the most prestigious venue operators on the planet. Not regular arenas, not standard amphitheaters. We are talking landmark locations, iconic structures, places where the architecture itself becomes part of performance narrative. If even a fraction of what I am hearing materializes, the ticketing frenzy alone will crash servers worldwide. But hold on, we are not finished, because this entire narrative would be incomplete if I did not address the empire beyond the music. And this is where things escalate from thrilling to genuinely staggering. Rihanna did not merely enter the beauty industry. She deconstructed its entire foundation and rebuilt it from the ground up with Fenty Beauty. She looked at a market that had been systematically excluding entire demographics for decades and said, no, not anymore. Not on my watch. And she did not just talk about inclusivity as a marketing strategy. She embedded it into the DNA of every product, every shade range, every campaign. 40 shades of foundation at launch. 40. At a time when most luxury brands were still pretending that diversity meant offering 3 options instead of 2. She obliterated the standard. She forced billion-dollar legacy brands to scramble and reformulate their entire approach just to keep pace with what she had built seemingly overnight. Now take that same revolutionary instinct, that same refusal to accept limitations, that same capacity to identify what the market is missing, and then fill that void with something so superior that it becomes a new default, and combine it with Rocky's undeniable influence in the fashion and streetwear ecosystem. Because Rocky is not just a person who wears interesting clothing. He is a person who reshapes what interesting clothing means. His partnership with major fashion houses has not been passive endorsement. It has been active transformation. He walks into those rooms, an entire aesthetic direction shifts. He makes creative choices that initially seem radical and within 18 months become industry standard. That is not following trends. That is, engineering them from conception. So when credible sources start murmuring about collaborative fashion ventures between these two, about potential streetwear collections that merge high fashion sensibility with accessible pricing, about beauty expansions that incorporate its visual language into our already dominant product ecosystem, what you are hearing is not gossip. What you are hearing is the blueprint for a multi-billion-dollar creative conglomerate that could rival anything currently existing in the celebrity business space. This is not about launching a capsule collection and calling it a day. This is about constructing an empire within an empire, a dynasty. And here's a detail that made me put my phone down and just stare at the wall for a solid 2 minutes. There are rumblings. And these rumblings are coming from people who sit in boardrooms where these decisions get finalized, that there may be a dedicated lifestyle brand development, not just fashion, not just beauty, but a fully integrated lifestyle ecosystem that encompasses home, wellness, fragrance, and experiential retail. The kind of brand infrastructure that takes years to build and generations to erode. And they are apparently laying the foundation for it right now, in tandem with everything else. And look, I know some people are going to read this and think I am inflating the significance. I know some people that sit there and say it is just another celebrity announcement. Calm down, move along, but respectfully, those people are not paying attention, because the seismic shift that is happening right now extends far beyond the entertainment industry. What Rihanna and Rocky are demonstrating, and what this reveal makes abundantly clear, is that the era of compartmentalized celebrity is finished, dead, buried. The old model, we were either a musician or a business person or a fashion figure or a cultural icon. That model expired. And these two are standing on its grave, planting a flag, and declaring that the future belongs to those who can operate across every single domain simultaneously and at the highest possible level. Now, let me bring the temperature down for just a moment, because I want to be genuine here. Strip away all the hype, all the industry analysis, all the business projections. At the core of this story, what you have is two human beings who found each other, built a family together, and are now channeling that partnership into something that could genuinely inspire millions of people. And there is something deeply moving about that. In an era where celebrity relationships are often reduced to tabloid fodder, where every interaction is dissected for signs of dysfunction, where the public appetite for collapse far exceeds its appetite for construction, here you have a couple that appears to be building in silence and revealing in thunder. Rocky has spoken openly about how fatherhood transformed his entire perspective, how holding his children rewired the way he approaches creativity, ambition, legacy. Rihanna has similarly expressed how motherhood unlocked chambers of purpose she did not know existed. And when two people who already possess extraordinary individual gifts discover an entirely new dimension of motivation through their family, the output is not going to be ordinary. It is going to be transcendent. And that transcendence is apparently what we are about to experience. I spoke to somebody who has worked closely with both of their teams at different points over the years. And this person told me something I cannot stop thinking about. They said the energy around both camps right now is unlike anything they have witnessed in their entire career. They described it as focused but electric, calculated but passionate, like two people who know exactly what they're about to unleash and are savoring every moment of the build-up before they pull the trigger. That description alone tells you everything you need to know about the intentionality behind this moment. Now let's talk about the ripple effects, because they are already happening, and they are happening fast. From Toronto to Miami, from London to Lagos, from Tokyo to Sao Paulo, the global fan base has already shifted into what I can only describe as preparation mode. People are not passively observing this unfold. They are actively gearing up. Streaming playlists are being curated and refreshed. Classic anthems are surging back into rotation. Social media timelines are being dedicated entirely to archival content, throwback moments, and speculative wish lists of what the new material might sound like. The short-form video platforms are absolutely saturated with reaction content, analysis content, prediction content. It is a full-blown cultural mobilization. I have never, in all my years covering the space, witnessed an organic grassroots response to this magnitude triggered by something that technically has not even been officially detailed yet. The devotion is staggering. The coordination is almost military. And here is the truly remarkable part. This level of anticipatory energy usually only materializes after an official announcement with concrete details, dates, track lists, album artwork. But in this case, the mere suggestion, the mere implication, the mere atmospheric shift has been enough to ignite a global firestorm. That is the power of what Rihanna and Rocky represent. Their gravitational pull is so immense that even the faintest signal from their orbit generates a response that most artists could not achieve with a full-scale promotional campaign and a $100 million marketing budget. Tracks like that iconic rain-soaked anthem that defined an entire era, streaming numbers climbing again, that hypnotic rhythm-driven record that dominated every club, every car stereo, every summer playlist for what felt like an eternity. People are rediscovering it as if hearing it for the very first time. And Rocky's discography is experiencing the exact same resurgence. People are going back and appreciating the nuance, the experimentation, the artistic risks he took long before the mainstream was ready to digest them. It is a beautiful thing to witness in real time. Two catalogs being re-examined and re-celebrated simultaneously, building momentum for whatever's coming next. But here's a question that is burning through every comment section, every group chat, every podcast episode, every late-night conversation between fans who cannot sleep because the anticipation is eating them alive. What exactly is it? What precisely are Rihanna and Rocky preparing to unleash? Because the breadcrumbs point in multiple directions simultaneously, and the uncertainty is both agonizing and exhilarating. Is it a full joint album that will redefine collaborative music for a generation? Is it a solo Rihanna project with strategic Rocky features that bridge her sonic universe with his? Is it a joint world tour that combines spectacle with intimacy? Is it a business expansion so ambitious that it redraws the boundaries of what a celebrity brand can become? Or, and this is a possibility that keeps me wide awake at 3 a.m. staring at my ceiling, is it all of the above? Is what we are witnessing the early tremors of comprehensive, multi-platform, multi-industry offensive that encompasses music, fashion, beauty, visual art, live performance, and family legacy all woven together into one unified masterwork? Because if that is the case, and every signal I am receiving suggests it might be, then what is approaching is not merely a comeback. It is not merely an announcement. It is not merely a cultural moment. It is a cultural epic, a before and after line drawn in permanent ink across the timeline of popular entertainment. And every single one of us is alive to witness it happen. Now, there's one more dimension to this that I would be doing you a disservice to ignore: the timing. Because in entertainment, timing is not just important. Timing is everything. And the timing of this reveal is not accidental. It is not coincidental. It is meticulously chosen. We are entering a period in the cultural calendar where the appetite for transformative content is at its absolute zenith. Summer is approaching. Festival season is loading. Award show cycles are resetting. The global mood is hungry for something that transcends the ordinary, something that pierces through the noise and the saturation and the algorithmic monotony and delivers a genuine jolt of electricity to the collective consciousness. And Rihanna and Rocky, with their preternatural understanding of cultural timing, appear to have identified this exact window and decided this is our moment. This is where we strike. And strike they apparently will, because the insider chatter is not slowing down. It is accelerating. Every day brings a new fragment of information. A studio session spotted here, a private screening mentioned there, a cryptic social media adjustment that sends the analytics community into forensic overdrive. The machinery is in motion. The blueprints have been drawn. The architecture is being erected with precision that suggests this has been in planning far longer than any of us suspected. And the unveiling, whenever it arrives in its full and complete form, is going to be one of those rare instances where the reality matches or exceeds the impossible expectations that have been building for nearly a decade. I want to leave you with this thought. We live in an era of constant content, an era where announcements blur into each other, where hype cycles have a lifespan of fruit flies, where today's earth-shattering revelation is tomorrow's forgotten footnote. But every once in a great while, something emerges that transcends a cycle entirely. Something that does not just capture attention, but fundamentally commands it. Something that does not just trend for an afternoon, but embeds itself into the permanent cultural record. And everything about what Rihanna and Rocky are constructing suggests that this is one of those once-in-a-generation occurrences. So, I am going to ask you directly, what do you believe is coming? Are we looking at the long-awaited musical resurrection that fans have been pleading for since 2016? Are we looking at a joint creative venture that will establish an entirely new template for power couples in entertainment? Are we looking at a business expansion so ambitious that it redraws the boundaries of what a celebrity brand can become? Or are we looking at something so unprecedented that none of our existing frameworks can adequately predict it? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to hear every single one of them, because this community does not just consume information. This community dissects it, debates it, and often gets closer to the truth than the official reports do. And with this particular story, With stakes as monumental and implications as far-reaching, your perspective matters more than you realize. And one final thing before I let you go. If you've been sitting here this entire time without subscribing, I need you to rectify that immediately. Because the velocity at which the story is evolving means there will be developments dropping that will completely reshape what we currently understand. And I will be here to break every single one of them down the moment they surface. Hit subscribe, activate that notification bell, and stay locked in. Because whatever Rihanna and Rocky are about to deliver, it is already altering the landscape, and what arrives next might just redefine it permanently. I will catch you in the next one. Stay ready, because once Rihanna and Rocky fully reveal what they have been constructing in that vault, nothing will ever look quite the same again. This is their chapter, and we are all just living in it.